Guess what day it is, y'all? Yeah, today is Monday. And we back at it again for another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. So come on in. This week, we'll be reading Love and Gospel Music. What's wrong with telling the damn truth? By your author, Mr. Timothy Blaine. Y'all head on over to Amazon.com and get your books. Download it on your Kindle or just order the paperback. Come on and support our authors, y'all. Love and gospel music. But is it really about love and gospel music? We over here reading, y'all. Make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe to Almond Brown everywhere. Check the description box to get all the links to his book and also to Mr. Timothy Blaine's YouTube channel. We almost reading, y'all. Are you ready? It's that time. Shh. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I am your girl, Miss Almond Brown 09, and I'm coming to you guys with another read of Love and Gospel Music, honey. What's wrong with telling the damn truth? So, yeah, we're going to get into it. Disclaimer, there may be some cussing and carrying on in this book, but you guys already know I'm going to give you the full essence of what's in the book. But yes, to let you guys know where we finished off last week. So we read half of chapter 12. And we learned that Dwayne caught Joey cheating on the tour. Joey was caught cheating with a little young tenderoni, a 22-year-old boy. So then Dwayne ended up going back home to Ohio. And y'all know he could not stand his mama. But what do you do when you having trouble in paradise? You run home to your mama. You don't care how mad she make you. But so he ran home and did that. And, it forced him to have a conversation with his mother. And he found out why his mother was she always seemed like she was pushing them away, or she couldn't love them the way that they felt like they needed to be loved, was because she was diagnosed with bipolar. So that she let him know that was the reason why she had high highs and low lows, but a lot of times it was mostly low lows. So we're going to we'll start there in the middle of chapter 12, and we're going to try to get through chapter 13, but it's a little lengthy. So I'll see where you guys are at when we get to that point. But I hope you guys have had a wonderful Monday thus far. I hope your weekend was wonderful. And for those of you that work the weekend shift, I hope your weekend is starting off today, wonderfully. So we'll get into it. Chapter 12, journal entry 2013, May 6th, 1990. Bless your Father. Lord, you know my heart, and you know how badly I want to call him. I'm asking that you harden my heart. I need more time. And Joy needs to know how much he's hurt me. If I go running back to him after a couple of weeks, he'll take that to mean that what he has done means nothing. And then he'll do it again and again, and he'll never stop doing it. How will I ever be able to trust Joy after this, God? I want so desperately for things to be right between us. I love him, Lord. You know how I feel about Joey, and you know how badly I miss him. But I just can't live like that. I won't live like that. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Father. I'm not telling you what I won't do. I'm asking you, please, to tell me what to do here. I'm still very angry and very hurt, but even more than that, God, I'm so very confused. Joey is the only man that I have ever loved, and very close to the only man I've ever known. I have got absolutely no experience with dealing with something like this. Is what Joey and me have so much less than a marriage? Am I only being childish to expect that the same rules should apply? What are the rules for us, God? Are people like Joey and me really on our own in matters of the heart and commitment? I just don't understand how we could have been so blessed for so long if it were not your intention that we be together. Maybe he's having a midlife crisis. Joey's got 7 years on me. Maybe the prospect of being with one person for the rest of his life got to be too much for him. Who am I kidding? Like, I really believe that this is some kind of isolated incident. In order for Joy to actually be sharing a room with one of the backup singers right out in front of you, the band, the singers, and everybody else on tour, it's got to be no big deal and nothing new. I feel like the biggest idiot on earth. I wonder who that was that called me. Well, I guess that's all just water under the bridge now. The question is, now that I know the real Joy White, what am I going to do about it? Hello? Hey, Pastor. It's Dwayne. Dwayne Brown? Man, I heard you were in town, said Reverend, now Pastor Nicholas. Why weren't you in church Sunday? I was looking for you. Yeah, my grandmother told me that she told you I was here, I said, my voice heavy. I'll try to make it next Sunday. Try to make it? Exclaimed Pastor. Son, what's going on? I thought we were friends. I know that something bad has happened, Dwayne. Sister Jones did tell me that much. I've been having some personal problems, Pastor. To tell you the truth, I was afraid that dealing with too many memories right now might push me over the edge. Well, that's when you should be in church, son. There's no problem known to mankind that prayer and praising God won't help. Do you really believe that, Pastor? Do I believe it? I'm coming over. How about lunch, Dwayne? I know a place. Sure. It'll be good to see you again, I said, unable to mask my gloom. I wrote down the time I was waiting to be out in front of my mother's house, and then gently returned the receiver to his wall-mounted cradle. It would be good to see him again. I liked the pastor. He was a good man. So, this person hurt you, and now you moved back home? Said Pastor Nicholas, as soon as we were seated and the waiter had walked away. Somehow I guessed it would be soul food. No, I'll be going back any day now, I said, peering down at the only slightly greasy menu. I should have been back by now. This is so irresponsible of me, Pastor. Everything is such a mess. People make mistakes, Dwayne. You've been with this guy a long time? Practically since the day I left here. The disco man? Now that's a long time. You remember? I mean, I told you about him. It's part of my job to remember things. Must have been 79, 80. August 1979. We met on my 21st birthday. A special day. It must have been for me to tell you about it, Pastor. We were talking quite a bit in that season, Dwayne. I don't think you had many friends in California yet. Remember the red sofa? I said, momentarily distracted by the pleasant memory of the little red sofa from our first little apartment in Hollywood. The pastor had insisted that I charge it to his credit card. It was the only furniture I had for a while. That's a lot of years, Dwayne. Can this thing be fixed? He cheated. What else? You mean that's not enough? Tell me some more of the story, said Pastor Nicholas. Okay, so he cheated and he's a liar. You mean you asked him if he was seeing somebody else and he denied it? Not exactly. I then told Reverend Nicholas the long version of my relationship with Joey. From the time his career started to take off, all the way up until the morning I found that food hiding in his hotel room closet. When I finished with my story, he said, go back. What? Relationships are hard, Dwayne, even under the best of conditions. You told me that you managed to stay with this man for your entire adult life. I can tell that you're still very much in love with him. And from everything you just shared with me, he loves you as well. But what he did, Pastor, how can I just go on like nothing has? Men cheat, Dwayne, said Pastor Nicholas matter of factly. Believe me, I know. It doesn't mean that we don't love. We, I said, eyes bulging slightly from my head. You mean you? This is not about me. The man was discreet. Be grateful for that, at least. Discreet? You must have not heard me right, Pastor. Joey and this dude were sharing a room. I got a phone call from a total stranger. Obviously, everybody knew about it. Everybody that is, except me. I slammed my hand down hard on the wooden table. Now, just try to calm down a bit, Dwayne. We don't want to get thrown out of here. This is one of my favorite restaurants. What I meant to say is, unless I missed something, you don't necessarily know that anyone outside of the three of you, and of course the mysterious caller, knows anything about this. You showed up at the hotel room in the middle of the night, unannounced. I'd be willing to bet that the other person was not officially checked into that room. What difference does that make, Pastor? He still did it. The low life dog. If he did it out in the open for the whole world and everybody on tour to see, then I probably have to agree with you. Such a person would no doubt have lost all respect for you and your relationship. Not much hope for repairing such a mindset. But since there is a chance that he was at least trying to be discreet, I'd have to advise you not to be too anxious to throw away 11 years of your life. Please don't take this the wrong way, Pastor, but I gotta ask, are you saying it's because we're two men? Is the best we can expect is that our partner doesn't do it in the middle of the street? It's got nothing to do with you being gay, Dwayne. It's got everything to do with you being men. I wish we had time for me to tell you about all the late night calls I've got from teary-eyed pastors' wives when the husbands were off attending or preaching at those conferences. I don't think any of us are as holy as we say from the pulpit, brother. You'd be surprised. I've never done it, I said with pride, while at the same time feeling a little naive and foolish. Keep living. Look, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being faithful and monogamous, Dwayne. As a matter of fact, I think that should be the goal for all of us, gay or straight. I'm just suggesting that you at least try to talk it out with the man. Relationships take work. You've had 11 good and, from what I can tell, from what you just told me, pretty easy years. Sounds to me like it's time to put on your boots and get to work. I feel like such a fool, I said, my head bent over, a single tear falling into my collard greens. That was a song back in the day, reminisced Pastor Nicholas. I don't remember who sang it now. Everybody plays the fool, I chimed in. There's no exception to the rule, the pastor finished the verse. You're good, Pastor Nicholas. Any ideas on who that might have been that called me? You're right. I am good. It comes from a lot of years on the job. You said that person seemed a lot younger than you. My guess would be early 20s. I'd be looking at someone attached to the other person. Maybe you're not the only one that got cheated on. Wow. Maybe you should have been a detective. I've never even thought about that one. Forget about that boy, Dwayne. This is between you and Joey. Thanks for listening to me, Pastor. It really is great to get to have your counsel. Sometimes it feels like I've been to the unofficial gay man spiritual council for the city of Cincinnati. I guess you heard about Terry Baxter? No. He died. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Dwayne. A very young man. Was it AIDS? Yes. Los Angeles is being devastated. Go back to your partner, Dwayne, said Pastor Nicholas with authority. Fix your relationship. These are dangerous times. I just hope it's not too late. I mean, I hope Joy had enough sense to use protection. You said he loves you. So, you were saying that there was a time when you believed? Boy, you are determined, aren't you? My mother said that she prepared the kitchen counter for rolling meatballs and chopping onions. Yes, there was a time when I was proud to call myself a Christian. Seems like such a long time ago. It must have been. I'm 32. I said, breaking the long strands of spaghetti in two and getting out my mother's prized pasta pot. It had to have been at least 30 years ago. It's not that I don't believe there is a God, she said through onion chopping tears. It's just that church, those people, the family church, or the whole body of Christ. Well, now, there is a question. When I was a little girl, son, I was just as excited about going to church as you and Sarah were when you were kids. My mother had just called me son, which didn't happen very often. I had a feeling that they were about to go deep. Funny that Johnny would become the preacher, I said. Grandma had to practically drag him to service on Sundays. Yeah, that is kind of weird, she said, as she poured the chopped onions into a bowl of raw ground beef. Anyway, I love church. It was always the highlight of my week. I'd lay out my Sunday dress on Friday nights, Dwayne. I did that for years. The first Reverend Nicholas was the preacher, I said, referring to the Reverend Nicholas's grandfather. Yes, he was. And boy, could that old man preach. This one they've got now was only a little better than a young hooligan back in those days. Church just seemed like the best place on earth to me. Everybody always smiling and encouraging each other. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I had to giggle at the thought of Reverend Nicholas as a young hooligan. Something happened? I pressed. Yeah, something happened, all right, she said, turning to face me. I got pregnant, Dwayne. I was 15 years old. Johnny? No, I lost the baby. Actually, I had an abortion, she said, a sadness rolling across her eyes. This was in the 50s. It was illegal and we were dirt poor. Oh, Mama, I never knew. Well, you're one of the very few people that I've ever told about it. My own parents didn't even know until after it was done. I told the boy who did it and only one other person. Somebody at the church? Now, how would you know something like that? Not too hard to figure out. You've always singled out the women when you start in about church folks. Was it a woman that you told, Mother? Yes, Mrs. Howard called herself a youth counselor, self-righteous, gossiping old bat. You confided in her? Not exactly. I went to her for the money. She and her husband were pretty well off, or at least they had more money than anybody else I knew. At first, I tried a few 15-year-old lies on her, but she figured out what was going on pretty quick. She gave you the money? Who's telling this story, Dwayne? Me or you? Yeah, she gave me the money. Said that she understood and that she had been through a similar situation when she was a young girl herself. Sounds like she was putting herself on the line with the church and especially with our family. She might have been breaking the law. I thought she was a good woman. I thought that she was an angel from God, Dwayne. That is, before I returned to church 2 weeks later. You should have seen the way those old rusty creatures looked at me. They all knew. Every one of them knew that I had had an abortion. Oh my God. Grandma? Not at first. But it didn't take long for her to figure out what all the whispering was about. I thought she was going to kill me, Dwayne. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that I feared for my life. Oh my God. What happened, Mama? I had to leave home for a while. There was just no way that the two of us could live under the same roof. We had relatives in Chicago, your great Aunt Rose and her family. So I went to live with them. And Mrs. Howard? Now that is a story to tell. Of course, I was living in Chicago at the time, so all of my information was coming secondhand or third hand. They tell me that the old church nearly split that summer over a personal feud between two families. No, it was a fight. From what I could tell, from what I was hearing from my sisters and a couple of my girlfriends, there was no discussion or mediation between the two women. Mama was just holding it in, but she must have been secretly seething inside. I mean, I could have died, Dwayne. A nurse's assistant did the abortion in her grandfather's garage. This woman was a youth counselor? You're rushing the story, she said, throwing the first meatball into the grease popping wrought iron skillet she had gotten as a wedding present before I was born. Your grandmother sat there in the pew across from the aisle from Mrs. Howard for most of that summer, quietly holding her peace and apparently working out her inner turmoil with the Lord. That doesn't sound like grandmother that I know. Mama, you could have died. Dwayne, please. You want her to go somewhere? I'm sorry. What happened? They told me that one day the spirit was unusually high at the old church. Old Reverend Nicholas had preached them into a frenzy. Mrs. Howard got so happy that she fell out on the floor. And that's when it happened. Mama jumped down on top of that woman. Your Aunt Sheila told me that it took all of the ushers and half of the deacon board to pull her off. And in the commotion, somebody's grandmother got her wig knocked off. Of course, half of the Sweet Jesus Assembly is related to any one of the old women. Before you knew it, half of the church were throwing punches at each other. Oh my God. It was ugly. And of course, when I finally did make it back to Cincinnati, my name was Mud. I'd always be known as the girl who nearly split the church. What about that woman, Mama? She was the adult. Seems to me that she should have gotten in big. They forced her out. And soon after that, her family moved away. But still, she wasn't the one who got knocked up at 15. And she wasn't the one who decided to have an abortion. And even have the nerve to involve one of the youth counselors. No, I had burned that bridge down to the cinder. They all still had a lot of respect for Mama and our family even after the fight. But my days of sitting in the pews at Sweet Jesus had come and gone. Well, now that is a lot, I said, wondering how she could have kept such a secret for so long. But then again, we had never really talked as adults. When I left Ohio, I was a little more than a child. But what about God, Mama? You haven't said anything about him. What about him? I just don't see how anybody could or would even try to navigate this life without any conception or relation to God whatsoever. I never said that, she snapped. That's something that you said, Dwayne. Don't be putting words in my mouth. Then you are a believer in Christ, I asked, not having a clue how she would answer. I had no idea what she believed. I've already told you that I am extremely private person, she answered, annoyance creasing her brow. Why should I have to explain everything that goes on inside my head? I'm your son, and you can't even tell me if you believe in Jesus? Everything you just told me is about what goes on inside of your head, and maybe some of the reasons why. I'm asking you about your heart, Mother. Why? Why the hell not? I exploded. Look, you really are going to have to work hard at this. I'm talking about this family thing. Sarah's got 2 kids. Johnny and his wife are pregnant. Do you realize that you haven't even asked me the woman's name? I know her name. It's Cynthia. Now don't be getting all upset and indignant with me again. Are you sure that you're not the one that should be taking those pills? I'm just trying to help, Mother. Believe it or not, there really are people walking around on this planet who care about you. And I'm thinking about those grandkids. They're going to need you, Mama. Don't you realize how important you are to this family? Stop it, Dwayne. You're going too far. You're talking to me like I don't have any feelings at all. You think I don't feel pain or guilt? You think I'm some kind of monster? She was crying. I hadn't seen my mother cry since I was little. I was little, more than a baby. And even the tears then had to be beaten out of her. I had no emotion to comfort her, at least not at first. It was good for her to cry. It was good for my mother to release her pain. We were talking about Jesus, Mother. Still not finished, she said, taking the tissues from my extended hand. Yes, I believe in the Lord, Dwayne, but I have swayed and drifted. There have been times in my life, son, when I have felt the Spirit of God so close to me, like if I were to blow talcum powder in the palm of my hand, I could see his image standing right in front of me. Hallelujah! Rose from deep within me. Glory. And then there are all those other times, dark, black times, like an eclipse that lasts for months, long, long, cold months. God is the stronger power, mother. That other thing is an illusionist. His power is small. That's why when we see his ugly face coming towards us, we can rebuke him in the name of Christ. God has given us power over the enemy, mother. And what about you, Dwayne Brown? Why aren't you walking the walk? For a fleeting second, she looked like an angel. What? I said, caught off guard. You still haven't told me why you've come here. Now, don't go changing the subject. We were talking about we've been inside my head long enough, she said with authority. What's wrong? It's late, mother. We don't have time to. Coward. You're the second person that's called me that in a month. What's his name? She said. Tell me about him. I told the story of Joey and me for the second time in a week, but this time I was amazed to realize that I was leaving practically nothing out of the story. There was a longing in me to tell my mother about Joey. When I finished telling my story, it was late. We were both exhausted. My mother suggested I call home in the morning. See if you can let him do most of the talking, Dwayne. I know that it'll be challenging for you. It's okay if he begs a little. Hopefully he cries a little. And don't start talking until he gets all the promises out. If he does all that, you go back home. Good night, mother. Good night, son. I'm glad we talked. And Dwayne? Yes, mother? I'm glad you came here, Dwayne. Hallelujah. Miss Johnson, what are you doing there? You have dogs, a cat, responsibilities, she answered, judgment and sarcasm coming through loud and clear. I know about my responsibilities, Miss Johnson, I said, annoyed by her attitude as always, even more annoyed by the thought of her walking her big ass around my house. Is Joey there? You mean you don't know? Asked Miss Johnson. Don't know what? Maybe you should call the studio, Dwayne. I don't know if I'm supposed to. Supposed to what? Woman, what the hell are you talking about? Where is Joey? Well, they were performing in Chicago 2 nights ago, and Dwayne, he collapsed on stage. Joey's in the hospital. What's going on, Dwayne? My mother demanded, just coming in from work. What are you doing? Can't talk right now, Mama. There's been an emergency, I said, throwing my things haphazardly into the little suitcase I had purchased that morning in preparation for my return to LA. I've got to leave now. I'll call you from Chicago. Chicago? Dwayne, don't go scaring me. What's going on? It's Dwayne. It's Joey. Something's happened. I'll have to call you later, Mama. There's a plane leaving in 45 minutes, and I've got to try for a standby. I love you. The screen door slammed behind me as I made my way out into a fresh snowfall. It was the middle of December, and there was already a blanket of snow covering the city. It had been such a long time I had even seen snow, let alone tried to drive on the slick streets that it produced. But slippery, slushy streets or no, I was in a hurry, and I was driving fast. Miss Johnson told me that Joey had been hospitalized for exhaustion, but I knew that it was something more. Joey had been singing on the road since he was little more than a child. Maybe he was exhausted, but it had to be stress of recent events as well. I know Joey, and I know what a sensitive man he is. I should have never. Oh, oh my. Bright lights, the sound of brake pedal pumping frantically against my eardrums, a long slushy screech from the back tires of the little rental car as they slid across the ice, the piercing sound of metal crashing, and then nothing. And scene. Hold on, we're going to take a brief intermission before we go on to chapter 13. Don't go nowhere. Guess what day it is, y'all? Yeah, today is Monday. We back at it again for another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. So come on in. This week, we'll be reading Love and Gospel Music. What's wrong with telling the damn truth? By your author, Mr. Timothy Blaine. Y'all head on over to Amazon.com and get your books. Download it on your Kindle or just order the paperback. Come on and support our authors, y'all. Love and gospel music. But is it really about love and gospel music? We over here reading, y'all. Make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe to Almond Brown everywhere. Check the description box to get all the links to his book and also to Mr. Timothy Blaine's YouTube channel. We almost reading, y'all. Are you ready? It's that time. And we are back. So we are going to continue our read of Love and Gospel Music, honey. We have to see what's going on with Dwayne and Joey. Whew. Chapter 13. We'll see how much we can get through this because it's a lot. A talk with the king. How long has he been like this? Joey asked, blowing enough warmth into his hands to navigate the frozen metal buttons of his heavy overcoat. Several of Dwayne's extended family members were doing shifts around the clock in the waiting room of the ICU at Cincinnati General. Ooh. 3 days, said Grandma Jones. 3 long, horrible days, son. Oh, my God. My God. Joy was hysterical, screaming into his hands. Dwayne, God, please, please. Grandma Jones walked over to him to see him in an isolated section of the waiting room. I have to see him, he said, after he calmed enough to be coherent. It's immediate family only for now, son, said Grandma Jones. They won't even let me in. Mrs. Jones, that's ridiculous. Dwayne doesn't have any wife or kids. We're his family. They let his mother in. It's not a good report, son. When they take him off of critical, you can come in with me. You're going to be Dwayne's brother for now. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jones, he said. But we shouldn't have to lie. What if, God forbid, something horrible were to happen? We wouldn't even be able to say, Mama, who is this? Said Mrs. Brown, returning to the waiting room with several cups of piping hot micro zap coffee. My name is Joey, ma'am. I know who you are, she said flatly. My son was coming to see you. Mrs. Brown, I am so sorry, he said through puddly, bloodshot eyes. I'm so sorry about everything. This is all my... If it's better for you, I could wait in the lobby downstairs. Of course, you're not going anywhere, she said, handing Joey one of the cousins' cup of brew. My son is going to want to see you when he wakes up. Thank you. Visibly relieved, he hadn't even considered what her reaction to him might be. It was a horrible accident, said Mrs. Brown. The roads were like ice. He's in a coma, Joey. They say Dwayne may never wake up. What a horrible thing to say. They said that to me on the second day that he was here. It was a nurse. She's the one that said, but I'm not going to listen to them. There is a prayer room here. Will you come there with me, Joey? Am I dead? No, just a little nap. This sure doesn't feel like a dream, I said. What do dreams feel like when you're in them? Said the hypnotic, yet somehow strangely familiar voice. Do you remember? Sometimes I remember a little, I said into nothingness. I've never been here before. I know. I decided to bring you in for a tune-up. What? Who are you? What's going on? I am. You am who? I demanded of the voice, but I couldn't see who I was talking to. Hey, I can't see my hands, my body. Oh my God, I'm dead? I really am dead? Oh my God. You're not dead, Dwayne, said the voice from no direction in particular. I'll tell you when you're dead. You were in an accident, a pretty bad car accident. Do you remember it? Concentrate. Yeah, I think I do remember something, I said, the memory quickly coming into focus. Oh my God, the roads, the ice. Dwayne, would you please stop calling my name every time you get a little excited? Said the eerie, familiar voice. Humans pick up the strangest habits. Do me a favor. Count to three. One, two, three. My name was just used in vain. 47,316,412 times. And that's just in 3 seconds. Want to take a guess at how many seconds there are in one of your days alone? It's very irritating. The commandment? I cried, realizing in a millisecond to whom I was potentially speaking. And in the same instant, realizing why the voice was so familiar. I put it in for a reason, said what I now realized was my own voice speaking back to me. Wait a minute. If you're God, then how come you sound so much like me? I sound like everybody and everything because I am. If you prefer, I could use the voice of a Tibetan monk or a Mongolian schoolgirl. Maybe you would prefer Moses or Abraham. So, you're God? I stated, still amazingly calm under the circumstances. This had to be a dream. I am. I always thought that it would be Jesus. I already told you, you're not dead, said the Lord. Besides, we are one. Then why me, God? I asked, not all sure why I was continuing to play along with what obviously was some kind of delusion or psychosis. At the very most, an extremely vivid dream. Except I couldn't see anything. I don't understand. There are something like 6 billion people on the earth. Why would you want to talk to somebody like me? Why not? You're all the same to me, said the Lord. Besides, what makes you think that I don't talk to others as well? Right now, I'm having millions of conversations. Wow, that's hard to imagine. You're still human, Dwayne. Don't even try. Am I allowed to ask questions? I asked, figuring that surely I could outsmart my own mind. If you want to, I'll take a few. But I'm afraid that the answers won't mean very much since you're not going to remember any of this. Then why, God? I asked, a little exasperated now. Was it at my own mind? I wanted to know what was happening to me. I wanted to wake up. What's the point? Is that your first question? Asked the Lord. How many do I get? Okay, I'll answer 3 of your questions. Sort of like the little imaginary genie creatures you were all so fond of as a child. And then I've got a couple of souls that want to have a word with you. And then I need you to go back. Sound all right? Sounds fantastic, I answered enthusiastically, wondering if I should ask for 3 more wishes instead. And thank you so much for this opportunity. The first question probably sounds a little redundant, and I'm sorry, but I just have to ask you, is this real? I mean, am I really having a conversation with the creator of the universe right now? You're right. It is the same question, said the Lord. Am I dead? Am I dreaming? Is this real? It's all the same question. I already told you. You were in that car accident. Right now, you're in what they call a coma. You're very close to physical death, but I'm going to send you back. And yes, you really are talking to me right now. Think about the stories recorded in the Bible. It's not unusual for me to come in to a human. It's not unusual for me to come to humans in a dream. Then this is a dream? Is that your second question? Asked the Lord. No, Lord. That's not my second question. Okay, said the Lord patiently. God, what about the letters, the writings? Have you heard me? The voice changed a bit then. It was the voice of a child. No, more than that. It was the voice of a 10-year-old me. Dear Mr. Jesus, I want to introduce myself. My name is Dwayne Anthony Brown. I live at 1461 Howard Street, and I'm 10 years old. I hope it's okay if I write you, Lord, and I'm not breaking the rules or causing trouble again. My mama says that I'm always causing trouble with my writing. I can't help it, Mr. Jesus. I just like writing things down. Maybe it's because I stutter so bad, but I can't help that either. The other kids make fun of me because of the way I talk. They call me names and laugh at me when I get mad at them, and then I stutter even worse. But I write better than anybody in my class. They're all just a bunch of big dummies. That's why they make fun, and that's why I hate them. I don't have any friends. Oh my God, I yelled without any lungs or mouth, all doubt falling away. It really is you. It's you, my Lord. Didn't I just tell you about that? Said the voice of the Lord. Humans. I'm so sorry, Lord. Please forgive me, I said humbly. I mean no disrespect, but now I've wasted two questions. Can I take a minute to think? Okay, Dwayne. But remember, you're going to have all of eternity to ask questions of me and many, many others when your time comes. I'm stuck between two. Can we make it four questions, Lord? We had a deal, Dwayne Brown. Ask me your last question. I guess you already know what I'm thinking. Of course, but it's like you were telling your mother the other day. What's important is what you speak out of your own mouth. Wow, I said in awe. Okay, Lord, why am I gay? Want to take a guess at how many times I've been asked that question? I mean, just in the last minute or so? Don't strain yourself, Dwayne. That was a rhetorical question. You're homosexual because I said so. That's it? That's the answer to the question? That's the answer to a lot of questions, said the Lord. Of all the things I have created, you humans are the most interesting to observe. You think tigers or monkeys sit around asking themselves, why am I a tiger? Or why am I a monkey? Do trees want to know, why am I a tree? You've wasted too much time on this, Dwayne. You could have been born deformed or blind or mentally ill or homicidal or suicidal. Gay is not bad. Want to take a guess at how many babies in various parts of the world are starving to death right now? What about the ones who are being seriously abused right there in your own country? I don't remember you being burned with irons or sexually tortured. You have no idea of the depravity of man. Trust me, your life could have been a whole lot worse. I'm sorry, Father, I said, feeling for a moment like a selfish, ungrateful fool. But you said I could ask. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Nothing wrong with asking me a question that's been plaguing you since you were 11 years old. I know that my answer seems vague and quite inadequate to you now, but believe it or not, because I said so, gets used a lot around here. You see, because I'm God, Dwayne, I get the final say on everything. If I say that the sky is red instead of blue, then guess what? It's a red sky. Then you do understand. Look, Dwayne Brown, you're just going to have to trust that I know what I'm doing up here. I have no names for your unborn children because they're never going to exist. You think I could trust the population of the earth with the decisions of mankind? As your mother would say, boy, you just don't know. There are some things that I have installed in nature, young man, that you simply don't have the capacity to comprehend. Don't worry about it. It's not your business. Whoever told humans that they were supposed to know everything, yea, are not gods. Then you're saying that it's okay with you, me being the way that I am? I mean, I made you. If I wanted something different, you think I couldn't have caused it to be? Trust me. If I had intended for you to be the father of many nations, I wouldn't have made you to be who you are. And by the way, Dwayne, if you were by some act of magic or deception of man to suddenly become heterosexual, you would then indeed be an abomination because you would no longer be the person that I created. Lord, what about Joey and me? You think your God you think your God can't count the three, Dwayne Brown? Boom, the voice of God. Your questions are up. Oh God, please don't leave me, I said, my whole being as invisible as it was in a sudden panic. It's been so long, Lord. I've waited for this day for so long. I never have, said the voice of the Lord, fading quickly, and I never will. I won't remember anything? I asked out into the nothingness. No, but you're going to feel a lot better about everything. The voice was much more distant now. Thank you, Lord, I yelled, my heart a ball of emotion. Thank you so much for this. I love you. I'll always love you, Dwayne Brown, and I'll always be with you. Always. Hey, Dwayne, who is that? I asked, looking around without any eyes to see, nor ears to hear for that matter. You don't remember my voice? Oh my, in an instant, I knew to whom I was speaking. He doesn't sound like that, said Benny Nicholas. I know, I said. Benny, this is too weird. Great though, isn't it? Wait until you make it all the way over. Then you're happy where you're at? I asked my childhood friend. To put it mildly, I can't even begin to describe it, Dwayne. But yes, I am very, very happy. Benny, why'd you do it? I asked, cutting right to the chase, not knowing how long this strange experience would go on. Well, I can see that you're not into a lot of idle chit chat and catching up. I'm sorry, I said. You don't want to tell me? It's a waste of time, Dwayne, said Benny. If you were able to ask me why I killed my flesh the day after it happened, I would probably have tried to make sense of it all. But one day, I think very soon after it happened, the Lord was kind enough to show me that it was my appointed time. What he told me was that at that very second that I heard my neck snap in that rope, I was scheduled to arrive in heaven. If I didn't do what I did at the exact time that I did it, I would have had a brain aneurysm or been hit by a bus or something. Whew, we're not in control of any of the big things, Dwayne. It's only an illusion. I'm not going to remember any of this either. Am I, Benny? I asked, my voice a little more than a whisper. Of course not, he asked matter of factly. He answered matter of factly. I've got a lover, I stated, quickly changing the subject. There was so much that I wanted to ask and tell my long missed friend, even if I didn't remember anything after the moment had passed. How long will we have? I pondered as I spoke. I know, said Benny. Joey White, what a voice. You know about Joey? I asked, taken somewhat aback and wondered if this meant that my friend had already received his wings. Was he an angel? I wished, not for the first time, that I could see something, anything. Yes, I know about Joey, answered the voice of Benny Nicholas. You'd be amazed at how much I know about your life. How? I mean, I don't understand, Benny. You're not supposed to. But trust me, I know all about you and Mr. Joey White. Don't let him get away, Dwayne. He is the only romantic love you will ever know. So he knows things, past, present, and future, I pondered. But what about you and Terry Baxter? Was the next thing I heard coming from my non existent lips. Hey, Dwayne, said a new and yet oh so familiar voice. What? Terry Baxter? Is that you? Is that your voice I'm hearing, Terry Baxter? Calm down, Dwayne, said Benny. You're going to wake yourself up. You're together? I yelled, as if discovering a long sought secret of the universe. Oh my, then that must mean me and Joy will be everybody that you know on earth, you will know on the other side as well, said Benny. If the Lord would allow me to bless you with something to remember, I'd tell you to meet and love more people. Gay people usually have a little less natural family. If there's one thing I regret about dying so young, is that I didn't get a chance to love more people. But I've still got aunts and uncles, grandparents, and ancestors that I've never met. People you never met? I asked, perplexed. I don't understand. All family, past and present, are together, Dwayne, Terry said. I found that I've got some pretty cool relatives after all. You sound so happy, Terry, I said, and so healthy. Nobody, no disease, and no pain, Dwayne. This is such a wonderful life. I even understand why my mother is the way she is now. And I thought I had a hard life. I check on in on her a lot. She's going to have a fatal heart attack in a couple of years. It's going to be great. Everything is going to be so wonderful someday, Dwayne. What was that? I asked, as if the non existent floor of the place where I was now conscious had just quaked. Calm down, said Benny. Your big toe just moved a little. Does that mean I'm going back? I asked in a panic. No, I don't want to. I want to know more. I want to stay here. That's why the only wise one can allow you to remember what's going on right now, Dwayne, said Terry. There's just no way you could live out your appointed days on earth with this kind of knowledge. I'd kill myself? Are you saying that I would take my own life, Terry? Of course, Ben interjected. Who wouldn't want to live here? Or at least you try. Humans don't have that kind of power, though, Dwayne. The only way to get here is to be summoned by the Lord. Don't worry, my friend. Your time will come soon. The church is growing bigger by the week, said Terry, knowing that his and Benny's conscious time with their friend would soon end. I knew it would. You need to get back to LA ASAP. Your brother needs you. I guess you both know what's been going on then. So now you know that Joey is a flawed human being, Benny said. He's flawed, and believe it or not, you've got some issues too, Dwayne. You're just people. I've never cheated on him. Wait till you start finding the gray hairs, said Benny. Believe me, you're no angel either, my friend. Oh no, I said. Are you telling me that I'm going to end up being a dirty old man, Benny? The gray hairs start in 3 years. He's there at the hospital, Dwayne, said Terry. Now stop talking and concentrate hard on the place where your body is lying. I don't see anything, I said. That's because you're still talking, said Benny. Some things never change. Hey, there I am, I said. And there's Joey. Aw, he's crying. That's about the hardest thing in the world for me to see. He's been crying since he got the phone call, said Terry. He feels responsible for the accident, Dwayne. That's ridiculous, I said, suddenly agitated by the realization that, at least for the moment, I could do absolutely nothing to comfort my one and only, now deeply suffering lover. I'm the one that was out there driving like a lunatic on the ice to come and see about him in Chicago, said Benny. Of course, he was only in the hospital because you wouldn't take any of his phone calls. So I guess you're right. It was all your fault. He's being facetious, Dwayne, said Terry, slightly annoyed by the insensitivity of his friend and fellow angel. Look, the accident was nobody's fault. The Lord wanted to have a word with you. That's all. Mark my words. When you wake up, you're going to feel a lot better about everything and know exactly what you're to do. Your brother Johnny was here, said Benny. What? Johnny has never been in a coma. He used a regular dream that time. While Johnny was in prison, the Lord called him to preach the gospel. Your brother is going to pastor one of the biggest churches in the United States, Dwayne. And your choir will sing to the presidents, added Terry. The only wise God has ordained the One Love Body of Believers Church explodes into a mega ministry with arms that reach around the globe. What? What are you guys saying? The Lord is calling you, Dwayne, said Benny. Prepare yourself to receive a word from the Lord. I don't understand. God? God, what's going on, Lord? God, are you there? Calm yourself, said Benny and Terry in unison. Receive. What your friends are telling you is the truth, Dwayne, said a much deeper voice than before. Since you were a child, you've been waiting and hoping that I would bless you with a purpose. It is true, God. It is true, God, that it has been the desire of my heart. Everything I say, do, or think is true and right, Dwayne Brown, boomed the voice of God from all directions. This church has been my plan since the four of you were children. Four? I asked, perplexed. I don't understand, Lord. There are only three of us here. Two of us are dead. Johnny, Joey, Cynthia, and you, said the Lord. You are positioned perfectly. The church? Lord, are you telling me that my purpose in life is tied to One Love Church? I mean, the church is the reason I was born? There you go with the questions again, came the voice of God. I thought we had a deal. I'm sorry. What I want you to do, Dwayne, will be revealed to you in a steady flow over the next 22 of your years. Only prepare yourself, my child. I'm about to turn the volume up on your life 100-fold. Prepare myself? Lord, you said that I won't remember any of this. How will I prepare myself? More questions, stated the voice sternly, as it quickly began to fade and blend with a multitude of other sounds and tones. Don't worry, you won't remember anything, but you'll know. Oh, Lord, I don't understand what you want me to do. God, God, are you still there? Oh, God, I don't understand. Come back, Lord. I don't understand what you want me to. Nurse, nurse, Joey screamed down the halls of the glistening white, eerily quiet hospital. His mouth. I saw his lips move. His lips moved. Two nurses, my mother, my grandmother, Johnny, Joey, Cynthia, and two cousins crowded into the room. Now, I'm going to need for all of you to step back away from the bed, said Nurse Emma. Beth, give me a safety pin and some oxygen. Should I page Dr. Nelson? Asked the younger nurse. You just get me that pen, girl, and sterilize. AWOL. That's it. He's awake, Dr. Nelson said as he removed the sharp instrument from the top of my right foot. It was much louder this time. It was much louder this time, doctor, said Emma. All vitals are good. Dwayne, can you hear me? Asked Dr. Nelson. Focus hard on your right hand. Try to move it for me, okay? Joey, came a muffled whisper from my parched lips. It was very hard to form a word. I wasn't at all sure that I wasn't still in a dream. New characters were being added so quickly, but my recent memory was fading fast, really fast. Something was different, all right. I could see that. Mostly light at first, but there were images of people, real people, in white coats and dresses. That was a word, doctor. I am well aware of that, nurse, said Dr. Nelson, a smile creeping onto his seriously overworked face. See if there's somebody named Joey out there. Hey, little brother. Johnny was dabbing my forehead lightly with one of the hospital's face cloths. You had us pretty worried. Sorry. They tell me that I was out for over a week. 10 days, 6 hours of change. Are Joey and Mama still out there? Of course. Where are they gonna go? Granny and a bunch of other people are out there too. I'd better let them know that you're awake, he said, and he turned around towards the door. No, I said weakly to my brother, grabbing his arm with all the strength I could muster. Let's talk a minute, Johnny. I want to talk about the church. Dwayne, you just woke up from a coma. I'm sorry for taking off the way I did, I said. We had only spoken briefly over the phone since all the drama with Joey in Seattle began. Something came up and yeah, I heard. Probably the first time you've ever slapped anybody, huh? So he told you? Somehow this surprised me. He hurt me bad, Johnny. He's been here in the lobby or at your bedside since he got worried about the accident, said Joey in a sympathetic tone. Came here right from his own hospital bed. I know Joey is a good man, I said, putting Johnny's concerns to rest before he was even able to express them. We'll work it out. I'm just so happy that you're all here. Can you believe how well Mama and Joey are getting along? Now, ain't that something? She been talking to Cynthia a lot too. Mama looks great, Johnny. And then I blurted out, I know about the baby. What? He exclaimed, his eyes bulging slightly. How? Don't worry about it. The important thing is that you're married. So what if the baby shows up a little earlier than expected? Dwayne, I'm a pastor now, and a husband, and a soon to be father. Don't dwell on negative things, Johnny. You're doing good. Well, I just hope that none of the members are counting the weeks. That's all, he said. I knew he was thinking obsessively about the headline Church Scandal. But at least he wasn't worrying about me. There's always been a few busybodies watching the baby clock. Your due date should be close enough to your wedding night. I wouldn't be losing any sleep over it. Cynthia must have told you before we left on our. Anyway, like I was saying, I want to talk about the church. Where are we? I mean, what's next, Johnny? My voice seemed to me to be getting a little stronger as I spoke, but maybe it wasn't that at all. My mind has never been more alert. Everything is great at the church, standing room only, even in the balcony. 6 programs running, drug program opening in a few weeks. We're in good shape, Dwayne. No one should have to stand up when they go to church, I said, the memory of the little overcrowded storefront where we had began several years early washing over me. Building fund is coming along fine, but we're still quite a ways off from what I would like to make a move right now. From what it would take to make a move right now. What if we invested the money, Johnny? Dwayne, what kind of drugs have they got you on? There's nothing wrong with my head, I answered. I'm thinking television. Yep, you're high, all right. Look, why don't I let you get some rest, little brother? We can talk more about TV land a little later. You're good in your call, Johnny, I said with authority. Don't be afraid. There must be a dozen, if not hundreds of preachers on TV, Dwayne, at least 10 of which are based in LA. I think that the airwaves are well covered for God. Yeah, you're afraid. I can see it written all over your face. Well, I want you to start thinking about it, Johnny. Think about it a lot. And I want your permission to hire somebody to do some research and find out what it would take to get us on the air nationally. You're serious? He asked, suddenly realizing that I was indeed very, very serious. As a 10-day coma, I answered. Anything else, boss? Not right now. I'm serious about this, Johnny, I said one more time for good measure. Look who's talking, said a voice in the doorway. Hey, Grandma, I thought you were supposed to be at home sleeping. I was. And then I had a nice lunch with Sarah and Mark, and I even got in a little grocery shopping. How you feeling, baby? How's your head? A lot better than yesterday, I'll tell you that. I'm worried about the scars, Grandma. I still haven't seen the top of my head. Is that something we should be worrying about right now, Dwayne? Johnny asked. Your head went through a windshield. You could have been killed. Forgive me if I'm not just a teeny bit concerned about spending the rest of my days looking like Dr. Frankenstein's monster. It's gonna be fine, Dwayne, she said. Your brother's right. Things could have turned out a whole lot worse. Well, I've been holding back since you woke up yesterday, son. But now I gotta ask you. Dwayne, did you see anything, baby? Granny, exclaimed Johnny. You promised. Well, I'm sorry, said Grandma. I just don't see the problem with asking. I already told you about the power of suggestion, said Johnny. If Dwayne had something to say, we were supposed to let him say it. Well, excuse me, said Grandma indignantly. Dwayne, was there anything? You mean like a bright white light at the end of a long tunnel? I said with a mysterious glint in my eye. Is that what you saw, baby? Yeah, that's what I saw. A smile relaxing my features. I think it was on the Discovery Channel about 3 months ago. I wasn't dead, Grandma. There were no lights, no tunnels, and no bearded men in white robes with glowing faces. Nothing then? Nope, nothing at all, Grandma. Sorry. You were unconscious for 10 days. I guess we're going to have to just wait our turns, Grandma. No sneak previews. Pastor Nicholas was here earlier, she said. Says he'll stop by again a little later. It's just so good to be back among the living. You said you never died, Dwayne, she said. You said you never died and you didn't see anything. You are a true literist, huh, Grandma. I mean to say that it's great to be alive and it's great to be awake. Hey, Dwayne, said my mother, walking into the room carrying something in a brown paper bag. My guess will be a hazelnut flavored coffee, 2 creams, and 1 sugar. Hey, Mama, I said, turning my head and my attention towards the opening door. It was good to see her again. My mind had been so groggy the day before. Now I remember everything we had discussed before the accident. Johnny Brown, said Grandma, looking at Johnny over the top of her glasses. How about you and me do some catching up? I bet you haven't had one of those Dairy Queen banana splits in a while. My wife has never had one, Granny, said Johnny. Can you believe it? Should we bring anything back, Dwayne? Mama? No, we're okay, said my mother. But would you ask Joy to step in here, please? I was telling your mother about the animal family, said Joey. I really miss those little monsters, I said, a smile lighting up my face at the thought of our beloved pets, especially that Jimmy dog. You're not supposed to have favorites, Dwayne, my mother remarked. It only makes the others act out more. Trust me. I know. You didn't tell me you raised pets as well, Miss Brown, said Joey. No, just children, she said. You'd be surprised at how much babies and puppies have in common. Thanks a lot, mother. What about the rental car? Total. You hit those trees hard, son. And then the car rolled. You're lucky to be alive right now. The car rolled over at least 5 times, said Joey. The cops showed me some Polaroids, Dwayne. They're horrible. Christians shouldn't be given the credit or the glory to luck, mother. Well, at least give some of the credit to that seatbelt that you were wearing, she said. I usually just sit on them, especially when I'm in a hurry, I said. My long held and obviously irresponsible, not to mention illegal habit. No, God gets all the credit for this one, mother. Have they said anything about when you can leave, Dwayne? Joey asked. We're just getting the runaround. At least a week, probably more. There are a lot of tests, but I feel great. Change that. I feel great, except for my head, which feels like it's locked in a bench vise. Joey, you were in the hospital. Are you okay, babe? Joy, what was it? Doctors tell me I'm exhausted. The rest of the tour has been canceled. Only 3 stops left anyway. Joey, take some time off, babe, I said, my eyes filling quickly. You've been going nonstop for at least 2 years. Yeah, that's kind of what the doctors were telling me before I took off. But we can talk about my weary bones and me later. This was a close call, babe. It just had me thinking, not only about the accident, Dwayne, but about us. Well, I think I heard somebody calling me out in the parking lot, said my mother, taking her cue. I'll be back in the morning, baby. Good night, Joey. Good night, Miss Brown. And thank you so much. You've been just great. We'll talk more later, she said as she left, a soft glow about her demeanor. The two of them had dodged a bullet together. A bond had been made. Dwayne, I'm so sleepy. Dwayne, I'm so deeply sorry about what happened. This has been the worst month of my life. Not just because I got caught, but all of this. Babe, I could have caused your death. The boy, is he gone? Of course. Don't blame him, Dwayne. I'm the one that set all of this in motion. Lust, greed, selfishness. Don't forget loneliness. You don't have to make excuses for me, Joey said through his tears. I had it all. You, my career, money, the house, everything that I've ever dreamed or hoped for. And still, it wasn't enough. You had sex, Joey. Technically, it's not even adultery. It was wrong. It was selfish, and I'm telling you from the depth of my being, Dwayne, I am so sorry. Babe, I promise you I will never stop, Joey. Don't promise. Just say what you want to say, but don't make me promises. They don't mean anything, stated Joey, his head bowed deeply in shame, tears flowing freely onto the hospital floor and on his very expensive calfskin loafers. You're wrong, I said, wiping the tears from his fingers with my own fingers. That's just the problem. They mean everything to a person like me. I love you, said Joey, looking up at me with tear-filled eyes. I believe you. Dwayne, babe. Oh, just calm down, Joey, I said, wiping my own eyes on the hospital bed sheets. You know that I love you. I'm just not sure you suffered enough yet. That's not funny. It's not funny at all, Dwayne. Am I laughing? It was one last dig before I reopened my heart to my partner. There's a time for everything, as they say, and the time had come to put these recent awful events in their rightful place, the past. Maybe we should go away for a while, said Joey. Spend some time together. Well, I love the idea, but the timing is a little off. You need to get some serious rest, Joey. Spend some time at home doing nothing. And I have got a lot of work to do. Work? The church. I want to get Johnny on the air. On what air? Asked Joey. You talking interviews? Radio? Cable. All it really takes is money, Joey. Well, where did this come from? I don't remember hearing anything about this. Don't ask me, but I've never been as sure about anything in my life. Dwayne, I was here in the room with you when you started coming around. It was kind of weird. Almost like you were talking to someone, or at least trying to talk to someone. The words were gargled, but something about you not understanding something. My grandmother already tried to go there, Joey. It was probably just some dumb dream. Let's not over spiritualize this. You didn't say anything to my grandmother, did you? No, this is the first time I've mentioned it. Then let's keep that part between us, babe. Besides, people wake up talking to themselves all the time. At least I wasn't screaming. Fine by me. Television, huh? What did Johnny have to say about this? Well, I just dropped the idea on him. Caught him off guard, but he'll come around after he had a little time to think about it. I know my brother. What about the money, Dwayne? It would probably cost a fortune. Maybe we can do something locally first. See how that goes. If we start out small, that's probably where we'll be stuck for a long time. Look, I've heard a lot of preachers in my time. Johnny is good, and he's ready now. We've got to dream big, way out the box. How can I help? Well, first you could do all of us a favor and follow your doctor's orders. Get some rest, Joey. That's all anyone needs from you right now. Well, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? You haven't even got the tubes out of your arms yet, and you're planning TV productions. After you've had some time, maybe we can talk about a couple of fundraisers. You're right about the money, of course. Production costs and all of that. Maybe bring in some of those big names from the label. Dwayne, you dreamed all of this up just since you came to yesterday? This is too weird. Yeah, it is kind of weird. Can't seem to think about anything else though. Just whatever you do, Joey, don't say anything to my grandmother about this. The last thing we need for her to be is rolling around on the floor of this hospital speaking in other tongues. Well, when you're feeling a little stronger, I have something very serious I want to talk to you about. Talk. No, I'd better let it wait. Joey, if you didn't want to talk about it now, you wouldn't have brought it up. What's up? Well, I've been here sitting out there in the waiting room for over a week. I've had a lot of time to think about this. Think about what? What's up with all the mystery, Joey? You leaving me for that little pump? Is that what you trying to tell me on my hospital bed? Don't be ridiculous. Would you let me finish, Dwayne? Damn. I'm sorry if I didn't talk fast enough for you. Well, I'm sorry too. But you're freaking me out a little, Joey. It must be the drugs. No, it's just you. Anyway, what I was trying to say was that I've had a lot of time to think about us. This whole thing. Starting from what happened in Seattle all the way up to and including the accident. It showed me how much you mean to me. Babe, we've got to get you some papers. I'm not a dog. I don't need papers. Very funny. Your funny chart is just off the scale today. As I was sitting around the hospital all week, scared half out of my wits, my mind raced in several directions. Babe, do you know these people wouldn't even let me see you in critical care? It occurred to me on the second or third day that as far as this hospital and probably most of society are concerned, you and me are nothing to each other. Not family, not anything that matters to anybody except us. It ain't new, Joey. We don't need anyone else's approval. That's just it, Dwayne. I think we do. Babe, there needs to be something legally binding between us. Why, Mr. White, I said in a high-pitched southern drawl, I do believe that you're trying to propose. Maybe I should come back when your pain medication has worn off a little more. Now who's the funny man? I'm serious, Dwayne. Babe, think about it for a minute. What if what happened in Seattle wasn't just a stupid fling? What if I did decide to go for newer model? Do you realize that I could have sent you packing on a whim? I don't think so. The house is in both of our names. What about everything else? How would you make the payments if I decide to move out? Babe, they're about to get civil unions in California. I think we need to have one. Man, you have been thinking. Well, what do you think, babe? Well, the first thing I think is that we need to have a better understanding about what happened in Seattle. I don't want to hear about that again, Joey. Newer model? I guess that would make me the older model. Do yourself a favor, Joey White. Make your case a different way. Dwayne, I'm asking you. please? Will you civil union me? And scene. Woo! That was a lot, honey. We finished half of chapter 12 and all of chapter 13 this week on love and gospel music, honey. So, if you just not getting here, please read about it back. So let me know how you guys felt about the half of chapter 12 and then chapter 13. I am going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and we can discuss what we read. I need some water or something, child. My mouth is real dry. But yes, I think, man, listen, when Dwayne started talking to the Lord, baby, I got all emotional on the inside because it's like being able to actually speak to the Lord like that, and it's like very vivid. And not everybody has those encounters. And I know that the Lord, your voice is what you hear. It's not like some loud boom of a different voice. No, it's your voice that you hear when you're speaking to the Lord or whatnot. So it was just like, dang, he had that. Now I see, Lord, hold on. Now I ain't asking for specifically that type of experience because he had to go through a car accident and be in a coma. Lord, I ain't asking for that type of experience, but I have experienced you, Lord. I'm just saying, that was remarkable. So, Mr. Timothy Blaine, that was a good part of the book that you had to wrote. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, Lord, I ain't trying to go there no, not in that way. I just had to let him know. I had to let him know. But what did you guys think about those chapters that we did read? Did you guys like it? What did you think about the relationship or the accident that he had to have in order to have the Lord speak to him and reveal to him his purpose in life? Sometimes it does take a traumatic experience for us to be still. Because we're so busy going about our day-to-day things that sometimes we don't take the time to sit and listen and hear the voice of the Lord. So it may take a traumatic experience where you're not able to move and do and be busy, and your mind is not as busy on other things as opposed to actually listening. When we ask God for something, are you really listening for him to answer, or are you just passively asking it in hopes that he will hear it and then just do what you ask him to do? Okay. Do you go into your prayer room? Do you have a prayer room? Do you have a war room, a prayer closet, honey, a prayer table? I don't know. Do you sit in your car and pray? Where? Do you lay down and pray? Because y'all know it used to be a time where you had to get down on your knees on the side of the bed, put your hands together like this right here, and say the Lord's Prayer of you going to bed, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. That was the elementary prayer. Now I hope we as adults, I ain't still praying that same prayer and that's it. Okay, you should have upgraded to a middle school, to a high school, to a college prayer. Baby, you all the way up there to a PhD in prayer. Now, it depends on where you are in your walk in the Lord. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, how do you pray? How do you talk to him? And then the relationship with Dwayne and his mother, as well as Johnny and Johnny's wife, Cynthia. And that was awesome that the Lord was able to show him that they were having a child. And Johnny was like, wait a minute. How you knew about that? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. But I'm ready to see what happens with Johnny and the church, as well as with Joey and his relationship with Dwayne. I'm really excited about the relationship between Dwayne, his mother, and Johnny and Sarah. Because y'all know I'm all about, baby, the relationship that you have with your parents. Because I don't have my mother. I don't have my stepfather who's like my daddy. You know what I'm saying? I have my daddy, my other daddy, but the ones that actually was there raised me up, so they're not here. So anytime you have a parent, man, listen, and I've told you guys this before, they do the best that they could. You know what I'm saying? And who are we to judge what their best is? You know what I'm saying? Well, a lot of people, as they get older, they still blame their parents for what happened when they were younger, but like Johnny had to have, like Dwayne had to have that something happened where he had to go home. And then he had to have that conversation with his mother. And it's a hard conversation to have with your parents. But sometimes I think for those strongholds to be broken, a conversation should be had. At least put forth the effort. And a lot of times as we get older, we'll say, well, they're the parent. They should come talk to me. No, you're an adult now too. You're not a child. You're their child, but in maturity, in age, in wisdom, you shouldn't be that little child anymore. But that's my opinion. That's just my opinion. But it's just when he was on that bed talking to the Lord, and like I said, God, now I ain't trying to. Okay. But when he was on the bed talking to the Lord, I could just it's almost like I put myself in the place of him and was talking to my mother. So that's just what I did. Okay. Because I have those moments. I do have those moments where you want to. It's like, Lord, if you had a telephone up there, let me ring ring ring, what I'm saying, boost that, where you at, things like that, like, mama, what's going on, how you doing, what's going, that type of conversation, if only for just a second. But anyways, I don't want to talk your ear off. But as I'm doing my I want to thank you guys for joining me. But as I'm doing my church announcements, if you guys can please drop your chocolate and your sun emojis in the chat. If you cannot find your chocolate and your sun emoji in the chat, feel free to drop a heart. And the chocolate and the sun emoji represents the love and the light that you all possess, that we all possess and show one another here, with the Almond Delights and the Almond Delights 2.0. So Shadia says, preach. You can get so busy in the mess and can't hear God's message. I talk to God all day long. Amen. Yes, a parent relationship is important regardless of what they put you through. Deal with what's hurting you and develop some type of relationship. Absolutely. Oh, look who decided to show up. And I was just about to give my church announcements. Are you up? I'm going to put you on when you're ready. I see you. But you guys, please make sure you guys check the description box. Don't go nowhere. We got Mr. Timothy Blaine. He moving away. He had to go get something. You ready?
Well, I wasn't going to come on today, but
you wasn't.
I was so happy that you actually got the heaven scene.
Yes, of course I did.
Oh my God, am I going too far? Because are they not going to get it?
No, I got it. I received it.
Right.
No, that was
relationship.
Say it again.
It's about relationship, right?
Yes.
And so you got and we don't know what happens in our dreams. We don't remember even what happens in our regular dreams.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible talks about him coming to people in their old men in their dreams. But
now some dreams you can't remember, because we do have dreamers. Because I remember some of mine, and I have to write them down because I am one of those.
Right. Well, mine is scary. I don't want to write them down, girl.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people do say that, and they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand. So I had to go to my leaders and ask, about that, because I don't want to get too deep on here, but yeah.
Right. No, I just dropped in just for a second. I want to ask you about something else though. What was the other thing in the early part you were reading? I came in a little bit late, but they started off in Ohio, right? Oh, about the mother and why she hated the church so much.
Right, when she had the abortion.
Yes, and the church fight. I'm
like, why is everybody fighting in the church? It was in James' books, all in James' books, everybody fought at the church. In your books,
they're heathens. And she jumped on it. I guess the grandmother, she sat there in the pews next to this woman who had, gave her money, her daughter money for an abortion without letting her know about it. And she just sat there holding her peace, as they say. And then when she saw the woman on the ground, she couldn't hold it no more. He jumped down on the woman.
Yes.
The hell out of her, right?
Was that your grandma in real life?
No. As far as I know,
I was hoping you was gonna say yeah.
I made all the whole thing up.
But
I wanted to justify the mother why she was so evil.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to go back into her life and what are some of the things that made her feel the way that she did. She had a vendetta. She had a problem with those women in that church.
Right.
They all turned on her. Right after the church nearly split, they never forgave her, and so she never forgave them.
Yeah, but that will do it, especially if you go in confidence to one of your leaders in the church, and then they said she did it in a garage or something.
Right.
Like, it wasn't even a safe abortion.
Right. Well, they didn't have a whole lot of safe ones back in those days for poor people, you know.
Oh, but listen, grandma is a G. Grandma would say hallelujah and stomp you at the same time.
Right. Pull that wig off, honey.
Yeah, they did say one of the grandma's wigs came flying off.
That's the ultimate. You can't be exposing my grandma like that.
But this is good because it is revealing the hurt that some parents do have to go through, but they have to shelter when they have kids. They can't, they don't know how to, or they can't bring that hurt out, but they showing it by actions, but they can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm glad that he did go through what he went through to have to go back home, because a lot of people don't go back home.
Right.
And it's just like they just live in that pain and what their parents put them through, and they just see like the grandma. They just sit there and they plunder and they think on it, but they never act on it. But he was able to act on what happened, and they were able to talk about it. So
right.
That was a
I
blessing.
kind of like the mother interaction with Joey too. She was kind of accepting of him because it was a tragedy that brought them together.
But see, the mama knew everything. They didn't think that she knew anything.
Right.
But she was showing she knew everything.
What's his name?
Like she knew about him. She knew about Johnny and Cynthia.
Right.
So but I guess because she never verbalized that she actually cared about them. So they didn't think that she knew.
That's all she could do, basically.
Yeah.
She did the best she could, kind of thing.
But that's sad that she really did have to go through that dark time really alone. Yes, she went to therapists, but really you're alone when you don't have immediate family that you're able to talk to, or immediate friends, or somebody that you can talk to. So
right, especially when she's bipolar. I mean, she's clinically bipolar, so he's able to find that out about his mother and all that.
Right, but Melissa said, I know she talked about abortion. Did she say who she was pregnant by? I don't think so.
No, she said she told him.
Yeah, she told him, but that was it.
Yeah, just told two people.
She said, because I was thinking it was a minister, but didn't know if that was clarified.
Oh, right.
That would have been deep, but no, he never said who.
I had not introduced any ministers there. It couldn't be Reverend Nicholas for sure,
Oh my God! If that was it! Oh my God!
The Reverend Nicholas is the good guy.
Yeah.
You see how
but the new Reverend, not the old Reverend.
The old, that's right. He would be the grandfather.
The granddaddy.
Yeah, of Reverend Nicholas.
Oh, that would have been deep. Oh. Look, my mind is like, oh, that would have been so deep if she would. And that would have been a reason for the youth minister. What if she would have knew if it was Reverend Granddaddy Nicholas? And she would have knew, because she was having sex with him too. And then, child, listen.
Or that was her father.
Oh yeah, that would have been the whole chapter. Oh, Uncle Tim, I could have wrote that chapter for you. Oh.
Well, congratulations. You read a lot though today. I mean,
I did.
I can't believe how long those chapters were. So what?
Yeah, chapter
30 pages.
Chapter 13 was really long. I didn't think I was gonna get through it, but I did. Melissa said, "How did you guys feel about the minister's advice regarding the relationship?" I had mixed feelings about the advice. I did too.
I had mixed back. Oh, Bob, I'm talking about all men being dogs.
Yeah, and I felt like he kind of hid something because he was
right. So he said, "This is not about me."
Yeah, because he cut it off.
He didn't want to see that. I mean, he cared about the boy. That was his son's best friend.
Yeah,
so that I thought it was decent advice. Should go back. I mean, if you cheated one time, take your ass back.
I think, and I feel like what Melissa said. She said she shared Dwayne's feelings about the cheating. That how you telling me to go back? First of all, they weren't married though. But how you telling me to go back? He cheated on me, So it's almost like, what am I to do? You really want me to go back to this man after I've caught him. It's not like I think he's cheated.
In the very act of it.
Right.
Like,
so I was like, how can you tell me to go back? So in that essence, like I really was, that's why I was making faces like, you tell him to go back.
And what else? What else?
Right. I'm like, wait a minute now. You tell him to go back. So that's how I was kind of confused a little bit.
The pastor is probably dealing with, he's counseling people regular all the time, right?
Yeah.
Probably not no big news to him. He probably hears that this is what they talk to him about.
Right.
Why he said that the women would come to him because the wives were complaining about the minister husbands going off in these conferences and things. So he
won them.
He said it ain't about me. We talking about you.
Yeah. He said this ain't about me.
What?
This ain't about me.
Are you saying that? No.
He like, we ain't talking about my skeletons. We talking about yours. Shadil said they did abortions in a person's house with a table, a hanger, and alcohol back in the day because people couldn't afford them.
Right. Dangerous. Very dangerous.
That sounds like some of that Betty White, a piece of a man is better than no man at all advice. Girl, you right. That's what it sounds like.
Right. And
that's what it sounds like.
And he makes good money at it. But the boy has been with him for 11 years, And he did refuse to go on tour with him. So
what does it make it right?
I don't know what goes on some of these tours and stuff. When people are gone for months at a time.
But it don't make it right.
Blaine even said that he had thought about it because Joey would be gone for months on end. But he
didn't act on it. Thinking and acting is two different things. He had conviction enough not to do it. But see, Joey knew that because in the beginning, Joey had to get therapy to not even sleep with Dwayne.
Right.
So
but the book is not over yet, though.
Yeah, I know.
We know he hadn't done it yet. I mean, we know.
Well, that's what the Lord. No, who said that? Benny.
No, the pastor. No. Oh,
Benny.
No, one of the dead people said that.
Yeah, it was Benny or Terry told him that he ain't cheat yet.
He
said in 3 years.
Yeah, that gray hair gonna come.
In 3 years, that's when Dwayne gonna cheat.
We'll see.
Child, she said that's one the Almighty himself would have to tell me to stay. Then I consider it.
Otherwise, it's the grits.
Yeah, he'll have to come down there and tap me on my shoulder and be like, Almond Brown, go back. I'll be like, okay, Lord. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it told me. But then I forgot, so.
But you got to be sure that's the voice of the Lord.
Right.
And not the other little thing sitting over here telling you to go back into harm's way.
Demon. Right.
Ooh, child.
Well, I thought it was kind of cute the way he gave him a purpose, though. And he didn't remember where the purpose came from.
Right.
When he woke up, he just knew that they had to go on television now.
Yeah. I think that was, I think that's how a lot of it happened with some people, though. They wake up knowing their purpose. But you have to add, it's in a sense, you got to want to know. Why am I still here? Why are you keeping me here? What am I to do?
Right. Yeah, he had been begging for his purpose for so long. Because he's the one who didn't have a purpose. Joey had a purpose and his brother had a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ministry and then music ministry.
Right.
But Dwayne never really had a purpose. And now he just got his call.
Yeah, so we'll see where his calling goes, and if he actually gets it, get him on television and things of that nature, and expand the ministry. So that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good to see.
Yeah.
So, you did a good writing. I really, my favorite scene was when he was talking to the Lord. So you did good.
I was wondering. I said, I wonder if I'm gonna lose people when I start talking to God. There's more surprises as the story goes on too. But the whole thing is about relationships, right? God relationships, mother relationships, grandmother relationships, pastor it's all about relationships, right? Yeah. And that's our primary relationship, our first one.
Well, I'm excited to see. Shadil said, I respected the pastor's honesty, but churches won't understand. Want to understand, huh? Girl, you gotta rewrite that one. I can't figure that one out.
They ain't gonna tell. They
ain't gonna understand. He tickled me trying not to use
money.
They send mixed signals. He tickled me trying not to use up them 3 questions on BS. He like, wait a minute, that don't count, Lord. That don't count, Lord. Can I get a fourth
one? The last one? We had a deal, honey.
Right. He was still asking questions when he came back after he was talking to Benny and Terry. He's like, wait a minute now. Did we say 3? Your God know how to count to 3, remember? He's like, that's it.
Well, I really
Well,
enjoyed this.
yes, I enjoyed it. We'll be back. Oh, well, prayerfully, I'll say prayerfully we will be back next week. But y'all know I do hair and the kids go back to school next Tuesday. So I will be working all this week, weekend, Sunday and Monday. So hopefully I'll be able to get off in time to come back and do the read. If I don't, then we'll just have to skip a week. But you
Right.
know, I'll let you
Get your
guys
money.
know whether or not I'll
You
be
gotta
able
pay
to
them
come.
bills, honey. Right.
Hey, got to, got to. So
My sister does that too.
oh, she does?
Yeah, she has her own salon. She has 12 chairs.
Yes. Well, I
Yeah.
ain't that big, honey. I don't think I want to be around that many people.
I don't think
But
they're all full. COVID kind of emptied out some of them chairs, but
well, I don't want to be around that many people. So
right, right. I believe that though they're basically renting space to other beauticians.
yeah. I have chairs in my salon for rent too, but I still don't want to be around that many people. COVID, I don't
Right.
care if COVID was
Women,
here or not.
all that women, all that talking.
Ooh,
Y'all
I
stop
can't. And
talking.
I'm a woman and I can't deal with all of that. Oh, uh-uh. What she said, I respected what the pastor said, but churches try to make sure a couple or family stays together.
Right,
Well, it's not just churches that do that. You know, even family, especially if you're married, they don't want you to run out on the first sign of trouble. So
right,
I understood, I understood where he was going, but at the same time, I'm like, wait a minute, you want him to go back after he just told you that? So
right.
I understand
Even
both
his own
sides.
mother told him to go back. He said
Yeah.
if he begs and cries a little bit, get him get all the lies out, and then you go on back.
Yeah, but he was like, don't make me no promise now. Okay.
All right, right. I don't want to hear that. Honey.
I hear you, but
That's
don't
what
make me no
pissed me off.
promise.
Right.
So, but y'all understand, I don't think it's necessarily the church that try to keep them together, but even family, but I don't think the church, I don't necessarily think he was wrong in a sense, but me in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute now,
Right.
but
Well, they're
hey,
not married. I mean, they're just a couple of guys. So
yeah.
you can go back. I mean, after the first time, you can't throw away 11 years. You
We'll
got
see.
you got a house, two cats, and a dog. You can't just walk out on everything, honey. Just
Well, he didn't walk
right.
out on it.
And as
So
we said, the book is not over, so we'll see.
it's not over. Melissa said she enjoyed it and she said, thank you for
Hi,
sharing.
Melissa. Thank you for coming in, Melissa. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
Well, hopefully I'll see you next week. If not, I'll see you a week after that.
all right, Mr. Tim. Thank you
All
so
right.
much
See
for
you in the
allowing me to
chat.
read your book again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'll
Thanks.
see you in the streets.
Later.
All right. Whew. All right, you guys. So that was the author, Mr. Timothy Blaine of Love and Gospel Music, honey. What's wrong with telling the damn truth? So, yes, we are done for our read this week. That was half of chapter 12 and chapter 13. We will commence on chapter 14 next week. If time permits, if I get off work in time, because I will be going to make my queen jealous. Okay, got to. But yeah, I love you guys. And go ahead and follow me on Instagram, AlmondBrown09. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you are an author and you would like your book read down here to the corner, go ahead and email me at almondbrown09@gmail.com. If you would like to hear this read podcast style, you can go over to my podcast, anchor.fm/almondbrown09. Please share this video with any and everybody. You can text it to a friend, tweet it to a friend, Instagram it to a friend, however you see fit. If you want to share this series of reads or any other video with your family and friends, feel free to do so. These videos also have their own playlists that are on my channel. So make sure you subscribe to Almond Brown 09 here on YouTube and make sure you hit the notification bell. If you are listening to this on my podcast, feel free to travel over to youtube.com/Almond Brown 09 and subscribe there as well. If you would like to join the membership, feel free to hit the link. It's appreciated but not required. So shout out to all of my Almond Delight 2.0s. I appreciate you guys. Anything else? I don't think I have anything else. Shout out to everybody that watched up there in the choir stand and the ones that decided to drop down here in the congregation, aka the chat, and chat with us. I appreciate you guys for sharing your Monday night with me. I know it was a little long, but I wanted to give you guys all of chapter 13. I will see you guys next week, hopefully. And Friday night for our Friday night red light special. We'll pray that we're able to get to that as well. Like I said, this is the week that the kids are going back to school, and this is one of my busiest work weeks of the year. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Shout out to my armor bearers, aka my moderators, Shadia, Sephora has a clone, D Vlogs, I am plus size, as well as B Scales 1214. You guys, please send up a prayer for her. Send up a prayer for Angela. We do miss her. Hola, mi hermosa Rosa. If you're still listening, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Miss Melissa, Trina B. Everybody that came in the chat, 420. I saw you, Shakila, Tracy's World 2. Thank you guys for joining me. 90s Flower. Whew. Everybody, any and everybody that came over tonight, as well as you guys up there in the clouds. If I did not call your name, charge it to my head and not my heart. Shout out to Pooh Bear. You probably up there in the sky. I love you. You always drop down. But I'll talk to you guys later, honey. I love you guys with the love of God. And there is what, honey? Nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to y'all later, honey. Bye. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.